Jeff, the host of the Gridiron.
All right, welcome to the Gridiron, baby. If you give this video a thumbs up or maybe share this video, that would be absolutely freaking phenomenal. If you subscribe to my channel, thank you. If not, please go down below, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way next time I go live or if I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. If you want to help support my channel out, description box below, very top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. Each one has their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. And then finally, another link just underneath that takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. We have over 9,400 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. Basically, if I'm alive and breathing and if I got internet access, I am putting stuff in this group darn near 365. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. It's my Facebook group. Please join it. You will not be dissatisfied. I promise. Well, I'm supporting my son. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I'm about as happy as I'm floating on there. I mean, of course, they haven't won the title. They haven't won the title since Jesus Christ was walking on earth. So I don't expect them to win the title. But what they did against Penn State, I'm about here, and then like with the Giants season being down here, you know what I mean? It's like total opposites, right? I'm just. You know, they got to the championship game. If they lose, hopefully they don't get killed. But if they got to the champ, I'm as happy as can be. But my son likes Texas, so I was pulling for them. I was kind of hoping for Notre Dame Texas final. But if you saw the game, it was 21-14. Texas had the ball, whatever it was. I don't know, a little over 2 minutes to go or something like that. They got down like the 8 or 9 yard line, something like that, whatever it was, and Ewers gets the snap, and of course the guy, I don't know his name is, from Ohio State, goes against the right tackle of Texas, and of course the right tackle from Texas looks a lot like Evan Neal, so the guy just runs right around the tackle from Texas. It looks just like Evan Neal, just runs right around them, right? And of course it hits Ewers, ball comes out. Scoop and score, 972,000 yards the other way. Touchdown, game over. The dagger, right? So it's 28-14. But the game was a lot closer than the 2 touchdowns. I mean, I said Texas was within like 8 yards or so away of tying the game up. But it is what it is. But so I'm a happy camper being a Giant fan. But anyway. What does Brian Daboll? I came up with this one here all on my own. It's kind of silly, kind of ridiculous, kind of silly, stupid, and all that and everything. But what does he have? And we're gonna go back 100 years, baby. We're going back in time. So if you don't like history, just take a nap, grab a pillow, take a nap. Right? But we're gonna go over every coach the Giants have had in Giants history. But what is Daboll? I mean, this is kind of silly, kind of ridiculous, right? But success. Now, a lot of times, like in the past, a lot of the coaches in the past, the successful Giant coaches in the past, maybe built the team. So they started from the ground up, right? And they worked, and built the team up and got success as they went along. Usually that's the way it happened. Daboll seems to be taking like the opposite approach. He just he had success year one, and he's just driving this Titanic right into the bottom of the abyss, right? But I mean, usually, if you're a good coach, right, you get your team, you start bringing your players in, you teach them and coach them and all of that, and obviously they hopefully like what Campbell's doing with the Lions. If you look at what the hell were they? Were they 3-14? I think the first year. Then they were 9-8, and then they just go like this, right? Now they only have 2 losses this year, so I'm not sure they'll be able to keep going up like that, But that's what you kind of hope to do, right? I said, Daboll, he's had success. That was one of the big things that kept him around, right? A couple years ago, seems like it was about 75 lifetimes ago, but just a couple years ago, he was the coach of the year, as Mara said. You can't take that away. A couple years ago, right? With Daniel Jones, not much as far as a whole lot of talent, no salary cap, yada, yada, yada. Of course, we had Saquon. Don't forget about that. But, we went 9-7-1, playoffs, won a playoff game, right? Of course, then we got smoked by the Eagles, right? But, he was successful. Now, if we go all the way back in time to 1925, my dog's underneath me. We'll start off with Bob Folwell. He was only there for 1 year, 1925. He was successful. He was 8-4. The Giants started off 0-3. They finished the season with an 8-1. They won 7 games in a row. They were 7-4. I'm sorry, 7-3. They lost the second to last game of December 6, 1925, to the Chicago Bears. So they were 7-3. They went to 7-4. Then they won the final game of the season. They finished 8-4. Right. So he was successful, but there was no championship for him or anything like that. But after that, he went to the AFL. They're one of the 332,000 AFLs. We normally pretty much think about the AFLs from the AFL from the 1960 to 69, right? But the first AFL was in 1926. Bob Folwell jumped to the AFL, and actually, just to go show you how good of a coach he was, he coached the Philadelphia Quakers in the original AFL in 1926, and they won the championship. So Bob Folwell was a very good coach. The second coach the Giants had was their center, Joe Doc Alexander. He was only there he was their coach for 1926. The problem was with him was he was a doctor, and the Giants had a lot of the practices in the afternoon. Well, one of the problems was being a doctor is that the Doc Alexander was at the hospital a lot, treating patients, and he couldn't get into the practice in the afternoon on time. Sometimes he would miss practices, or he was always showing up late. And the Giants were 8-4-1. They had a very good record, right? But Mr. Mara wanted a little bit more. He wanted some stability there. So Joe Doc Alexander was on the Giants in 27, okay, but he was not the coach anymore because he could not totally fulfill his duties. So the first 2 seasons, the Giants had 2 coaches, right? The third and fourth season, the Giants had 1 coach, Earl Pottinger, Potteiger, Potteiger, right? He had the best and the worst, right? He had the best because in 27, Giants were 11-1-1. They won their first championship, as we all know, right? What impressed me the most is that in those 13 games, they gave up a grand total of 20 points, 1.5 points per game. Pretty good. But the following season in 27, he had the championship. 28, the Giants had their first losing season, right? 29 and 30, or shall I say 29 and most of 30, I've seen Ray Andrews, Roy Andrews, Leroy Andrews, right? He came from the Kansas City Cowboys. He was the coach for the Giants from 29 and 30. The last 2 games of the 1930 season, he seemed like he got fired. There was like a mutiny going on. The Giants had the I don't want to say the title won, but they lost a couple real close games, and there was some problems, and so they got rid of him. And so Benny Friedman and quite possibly Steve Owen were the interim coaches for the last 2 games. I know Benny Friedman was for the last 2 games in 1930. Right, so first 6 seasons the Giants were around. They had 4 coaches. All right, but one of them was had success, but. After that, now we start talking. All right, now we're talking long term. Now we got obviously Steve Owen from 1931 to 53. Then his first 3 seasons, he had success. 31, no. 32, no. But 33, right? They went to the first ever NFL championship game, right? To me, call me crazy, call me hitting a crack pipe, whatever. To me, the greatest championship game of all time. I can't sitting there for 10, 15 minutes talking about how good it was. But to me, it was the greatest championship game. They lost by 2 points, 23-21 to the Bears, but it was an unbelievable game. But Steve Owen had success early on. All right. He coached the 1953. So in his third season, he had success. He coached the 53. Then Jim Lee Howell took over, right, for the Giants from 54 to 60. Yeah, 54, 55, 56. Jim Lee Howell had success. 1956. Giants won the championship. They beat the Chicago Bears 47-7. He also took the Giants to the championship game in 58 and 59. He left after the 60 season, unfortunately for the Giants. After the 58 season, Vince Lombardi left, and after the 59 season, Tom Landry left. So we were stuck with Allie Sherman. Good offensive mind, very good offensive mind, but maybe not such a great coach. He did take to the Giants to the 61, 62, and 63 championship, okay, but that was basically a team that was given to him, right? After 63 and guys started getting old and retiring and stuff like that, a lot of guys retired after the 63, 64 season. Giants started trading guys away. Oh, what's up, buddy? He never took them back to the playoffs, but he had success in his first 3 years, right? Jim Lee Howell had success in his first 3 years. Steve Owen had success in his first 3 years. All right, then after that, then we had Alex Webster, from 69 to 73. He was not a very good coach. Nice guy, just not a very good coach. Then we had Bill Orange Parger from 74, 75 and half of 76. Then we had McVay for the other half of 76, 77, and 78. Right? They were not very successful. That's why they only lasted 2.5 seasons. Now you could talk about Perkins. Perkins was there 79, 80, 81, and 82. After 82, Alabama was calling him when he went back to college, where we got Bill Parcells. But Perkins, you could say he was successful because in his third season, once again, the Giants from 79, 80, 81, right? In his third season, the Giants went to the playoffs. But you can also look at it because they were so bad in 80, they had the second overall pick. And with the second overall pick in the 1981 NFL draft, we all know that the Giants took Lawrence Taylor. So quite possibly, if the Giants took another player out of Lawrence Taylor, the Giants probably wouldn't have gone to the playoffs in 81. It was pretty much due to the fact we drafted Lawrence Taylor. Then, of course, we had Bill Parcells. 83 was I think we had 3-12-1. Absolute disaster. But 84, he went to the playoffs. 85 went to the playoffs. 86, we went to the playoffs and won the Super Bowl. So he had success within his first 3 seasons, without a doubt. After he left in 90, we had Ray Hanley. He lasted 2 seasons. Yeah. Then after that, we had Reeves. Reeves is a very successful coach. He was successful. He took the Falcons to the Super Bowl. He took the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl. Of course, they had John Elway. That kind of helps. But with Reeves, in his first season, he's a successful coach. He wasn't too successful with the Giants, but in his first season, Simms' last season, Lawrence Taylor's last season, 1993, we went to we almost won the division. We almost knocked off the Cowboys, who the defending Super Bowl champion Cowboys, for the division title. Of course, we lost that last game in overtime. Good game. That was the game that Emmitt Smith separated his shoulder. But, the game, he was a successful coach, but he had, his first season, right? But he only lasted for 4. The next 3, we never made the playoffs, and, right, he was gone. Fossil took over, 97. What happened with him? First season. Obviously, he's kind of a successful coach. First season, we went to the playoffs. Won a division, went to the playoffs. And, of course, in 2000, we went to the Super Bowl, right? Then, of course, in 2002, we went back to the playoffs. We should have beat the 49ers. We were beaten by 75,000 points with like 20 minutes left to go. One of the biggest absolute meltdowns of all freaking time Giants had against the 49ers. I don't even want to talk about it. But, once again, he had success early on. He took a Giant team to the Super Bowl, right? And he took us to the playoffs 3 times, right? After 2003, it was a horrible season. I believe we had a bunch of injuries, but he was let go. And then, of course, we have, Coughlin, 2004 was not very good. 2004 was a good gamble by him, right? Because we started 5-2 with Kurt Warner as our quarterback. We lost 2 tough games. I think they were both road games. I should know, but it was like the Lions, the Cardinals and the Lions. I think it was 2 like road games, and it were tough losses. So we went to 5-4, and he decided to pull the plug basically on the whole season, pull out the whole future Hall of Famer Kurt Warner, insert Eli Manning. So we went from 5-4, and we went to 5-10. And we finally won the final game of the season against Bill Parcells and the Dallas Cowboys. So we finished with a record of 6-10. But with Coughlin, right? Once again, another successful coach. 2005, 2006, 2007, 2008, 4 years in a row, right? He took us to the playoffs. Successful coach, had obviously once again, right? He had success early on. Not his first season. Tough to have a lot of success first season with a rookie quarterback, right? But we went from 6-10. I think we were 11-5. Went from 6-10 to 11-5 in 1 year. So Coughlin, successful, right? And of course, he was let go, or whatever you want to call it, let go, retired, however you want to look at it, right? So of course, you got 16 and 17. Right, and then you had the McAdoo. I mean, I don't want to say obviously he was a successful coach. We went to the playoffs, but I know Reese spent a lot of money, especially on the defensive side in the free agency. Brought an influx of a bunch of talent. Just seemed to gel for that one season. Right, that was the boat trip and all that stuff with OBJ and all of that stuff. Of course, we took a dumper in the playoffs against the Packers. So I don't want to say McAdoo was successful, because the following season we were just out of control, and he couldn't control it, and he got let go. Then Steve Spagnuolo finished the season. I think the final 4 games of the season, he was the interim coach. So not McAdoo, not successful. 18 and 19, we had Shermer, right? Not successful. What were we? 3-13. Oh no, 3-13 1 year and 4-12 the other, or something like that. I mean, it was just, no. We were 9-23, I think, with Shermer. So 1 year we won 4 games. 1 year we won 5 games. Not successful coach at all. So he lasted 2 seasons. Once again, then we had Judge, right? 2021, not successful at all. So you had McAdoo 2 years gone, Shermer 2 years gone, Judge 2 years gone. But that's another thing. One of the things that, Mara, just keep churning, the GMs and the coaches over, and just, he wants to give, Daboll and Shane another year. I mean, we're start talking about these draft classes that the Giants had. All right. Especially like in this portion, a couple of minutes, and I'll be talking about obviously 2 guys in particular, how well they are. But the Giants draft class this upcoming season, this past season, I'm sorry, phenomenal, really, especially if you go by what PFF, right? And the all rookie team and everything. So if we can duplicate that again with Shane, it's only going to help, right? But I said the one thing that Daboll had, right, is that with other successful coaches from the past, from the Giants, is that he's had success early on. And I said usually it's like Coughlin or Steve Owen or Parcells or whatever. Maybe the first year they struggle or so, whatever. But then it just trajectory it was going up. Somehow Daboll seemed to be going in the opposite direction, but he did have success early on, and unlike Owen, okay, unlike Coughlin, unlike Parcells, right? Daboll took this team, a salary cap strapped team, trash team, right? I mean, we had to get rid of Bradbury, and he went to the Eagles because they have no salary cap in Philadelphia. They just bring all these players in to make their team good, and they put all these void years on the end of the contract. So that's why he went to Philadelphia. But he took a team. We had no salary cap money. Couldn't even keep our own players. We had to let players go because we couldn't afford to keep them. And he took the team, took them to a playoff. Not only that, but on the road, won a playoff game, right? That's something that, I'm not saying he's better than Coughlin. I'm not saying he's better than Steve Owen. I'm not saying he's better than blah, blah. Not saying that, okay? But he did do something that Owen, Coughlin, and Parcells did not do. In his first year with a bad team, no salary, right? He took us to the playoffs. Got to give him some credit there. And also a little kudos to Steve Owen, too. He has like 150 wins, guy from 1931 to 1953, 23 years as a Giants coach, a long time. And, of course, back then they only played 12 games a season. Had he, been played, if he coached from 31 to 53 and had 16 or 17 game seasons like they do now, I mean, he probably would have close to 200 victories. But he has 150. And quite possibly that might be the all-time winner, almost maybe bar none. Because you figure in this market, to be coach of the Giants, you'd have to coach for 15 years and average 10 wins a season. You'd have to be 10-7 for 15 straight seasons. I don't know if anybody in this day and age can do something like that. Now, of course, Coughlin kind of got nudged out. You know what I mean? So, could he have stayed around for another few years or so? Yeah, possibly, but I don't know if he ever would have reached 150. I said, it's just in today's day and all of that, 150 wins in this market where the morons who write the articles do nothing but talk bad about you, bring you down, nothing but negativity and all that stuff and everything. So it's pretty tough. So Steve Owen is, without question, he's one of the greatest Giant coaches of all time, without question. But the thing Daboll had, right, in common with other Giant successful coaches is he had success early on, right? So let's hope he can right this ship. But, he's got silly as his work cut out for him. But there you go. Finally, this sexy one. Right? Thank goodness. Dexter Lawrence finally voted as an all-pro. Good for you, man. Good for you. Now, last year was kind of like, actually graded out even better last year than he did this year. Right? And this year, the past 2 years. Now, because, of course, The Godfather came over. And once The Godfather came over, Sexy started elevating his game. Right? So let's not... Mr. Patterson, let's tip our cap to him, because ever since he's come over, Dexter Lawrence's game has gone to another level, without question. But it's about time. I mean, it's his third Pro Bowl in a row, right? But an All-Pro, good for him. Got a couple of articles here. Defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence named to the Players All-Pro. Postseason honors continue to pile up for New York Giants defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence. Not all was lost for the New York Giants in the 2024 season. Defensive lineman Dexter Lawrence, who began this season looking to establish himself as one of the best interior defensive linemen in the league, following the retirement of future Hall of Famer Aaron Donald, should be without question first ballot Hall of Famer. Sexy was named to his Players All-Pro, his third Players All-Pro, following a league-wide vote, the NFL Players Association. The honors, first unveiled during the 2023 season, are based on votes by the players who select their peers representing the best at 23 different positions. Lawrence, who missed 5 games this season after suffering a dislocated elbow on November 28th, was still deemed eligible for voting consideration, earning the award for a third time since its inception. Lawrence, the second of 3 Giants' first-round draft picks in 2019, finishes the team leader in sacks with 9, despite his extended absence. His sack total also ranks third among, now you got to go figure here, behind It ranks third. Interior defensive lineman ranks third behind Leo the Lion, who had 11, and Zach Seiler of Miami, who had 10. Now, last time Leonard Williams had that double-digit sacks, it was a salary year for him, or not a salary, he was up for a new contract the following season. So I'm wondering if he's up for a new contract or not to get that many sacks. But once again, he had a phenomenal season. So good for you, Leonard. The 9 sacks represents a single-season high for Lawrence, who remarkably was able to rack up that total despite routinely seeing double-team blocks on the majority of the pass rushing snaps this season. Lawrence, the only Giant player voted to this year's Pro Bowl, finished his abbreviated season with 44 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, 16 quarterback hits, 1 pass breakup, and a forced fumble. Lawrence, who set out to show the league that he was more than just a 2-down run stopper, now has 30 career sacks, which is good for 13th in the Giants franchise history and ranks 3rd among the team's defensive tackles. Lawrence became the Giants' first defensive lineman to make 3 consecutive Pro Bowls since Michael Strahan. He is also the franchise's first interior defensive lineman to earn 3 Pro Bowl selections since Rosie Greer. So we got to go back to the 50s and the 60s for that. And another article here, Dexter Lawrence named to the NFLPA Players All-Pro team. Let's see here. The NFLPA All-Pro team is voted on by the players themselves. We asked players across the league to select who had the most impact this season. The players were tasked with voting for the best player at their same position and positions they line up against. Lawrence may have spent the final month of the season on injury reserve as a result of a dislocated elbow, but his 12-game dominance cannot be ignored. He was the Giants' lone Pro Bowler. Lawrence was also the team's highest-graded player and the second highest-graded interior defensive lineman in football. The 2024 Associated Press All-Pro team is expected to be announced later this coming up week. But said, what do we got here? Now, his first season, okay, he graded out as 76. This is just by PFF. That's all we're going by. His second season, he got a little bit better. He went to 79.7. Then in 2021, the last season with Judge, he graded at 68.6. So he took a little bit of a step backwards. Not quite possibly could have been where they were lining him up at. Who knows? But then once The Godfather came here, right, in 2022, he graded out at 91.6. 2023, 92.9. He almost graded out at 93 last season. Now, this past season, okay, he graded at 89.9. It was 0.1 underneath a 90. So, right? So this past season, but I mean, the past 3 years, he graded out 91.6, 92.9, and 89.9. So let's not forget, also I said, with the Godfather being there, that's he's been a huge help to Sexy Dexy. So I'm very glad I'm glad the Vikings, he left the Vikings, he wound up coming here. Very, very glad for that. But also talking about, some I guess what do you want to call them, awards, shall we? But Neighbors and Phillips, among the PFF's best rookies. I think, I'll tell you what, boy, once again, and you even look at Newman, our second round pick, another phenomenal. I mean, this draft class was fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I said we're going to go a little bit more in depth and detail, probably maybe tomorrow, or maybe what's the night? Maybe Saturday or Sunday night. Whatever. Talk about this whole rookie class, right, and how well they've been. I mean, just Shane really knocked it out of the park here. And as I said, once again, we really need another grand slam. That would be absolutely fantastic. But Neighbors and Phillips among PFF's best rookies. Got here? Hear it? All right, now. This is from Big Blue View. John Mara isn't the only one who noticed the Giants rookies class. Giants have very little to boast about these days. True. They're coming off a 3-win season where they lost every divisional matchup and earned one victory at home, and the Week 17 victory consequently cost them the number 1 overall selection in the 2025 NFL Draft. Nevertheless, the Giants will power forward with Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll. One of John Mara's incentives to retain the maligned general manager was the Giants' 2024 NFL Draft class. Schoen selected 2 1,000-plus yards from scrimmage players on offense and several other potential building blocks. Absolutely. It's early, but the most recent draft seems much more impactful than Schoen's previous first 2. Absolutely. Oh, my goodness. Which we discussed in the draft's end of the season report card. But Pro Football Focus agreed as both wide receiver Malik Nabers and cornerback Drew Phillips ranked as 2 of the best rookies in the class. Nabers was also named part of the PFF All-Rookie team. Nabers was the first wide receiver listed, and PFF's description of their 3 wide receiver selections, Brian Thomas, Ladd McConkey. Yes, I mean the Chargers had Alt and McConkey too, right? So they drafted 2 of the top rookies as well too. So they had a really good class as well too. Of the big 3 receivers drafted, Nabers, despite some inconsistent quarterback play. But see, also you look at McConkey, right? He's got Herbert throwing the ball to him. Okay. We got Malik Nabers, right? We had 4 different quarterbacks throwing the ball to him. With Tim Boyle throwing the ball to him, right? Right. So, Nabers had the highest grade of all rookie receivers with a top 10 finish. While he was a clear number 1, it was a battle between 3 for the remaining 2 spots. Marvin Harrison Jr., remember, he got taken in front, right? Remember? Thank you, Cardinals. Thank you. Good job. I'll take Malik. You can have Marvin. Marvin Harrison Jr. was the man to miss out. So the Cardinals took the wrong guy, right? Still, all the signs point to this being a historic draft class. Nabers finished the season with 109 catches on 170 targets for 1,204 yards with 7 touchdowns. He broke the Giants' single-season reception mark of Steve Smith in 2009 and would have broken Puka Nakua's single-season reception mark. But fellow rookie Brock Bowers, a tight end, set the record hours after Nabers in Week 18. But Brock Bowers, I believe, played in every game. Malik Nabers did not. Had Malik Nabers played in every game, Malik Nabers would have the overall rookie record, without question. PFF understood Nabers' impact and listed him as their 3rd overall graded rookie performer, just behind Buccaneers running back Bucky Irving and Washington quarterback Jaden Daniels. Here's their grade and description of Nabers. Nabers delivered an impressive rookie season for the Giants, averaging 2.17 yards per route run and earning an 87.1 PFF receiving grade. Targeted 165 times, he hauled in 109 receptions for 1,204 yards. PFF's next highest graded wide receiver was Jacksonville's Brian Thomas Jr. with an 82. Drew Phillips was the 13th highest graded rookie and the 2nd highest graded defensive back. Phillips graded at 77.5. I'll take that. 10 ways to Tuesday. Phillips was a strong close to the line of scrimmage in his first season, earning a 78.1 run defensive grade for the Giants. He was solid in coverage, too, earning a 75.8 coverage grade and allowing just 373 yards from 335 snaps in coverage. Now, he gave up some receptions, yeah, but there weren't. The average yards per reception was very, very low, right? And he was very good in run support. I mean, fantastic. Absolutely, the 3rd round knocked it out of the park with this guy. Let's just hope, like with all the other guys, he can stay healthy. Because, let's say, I don't remember how much time Tracy missed, if any, or Muasau. But I mean, you look at the top 4 guys, right? Malik missed a couple games, right? Newman is out. This season's over with. Season was over with, right? He got injured. Phillips missed a few games, and then Theo Johnson, his season ended too. So, once again, hard to believe, but the top four guys are absolutely great picks, but injuries. Shocking, I know. Phillips finished the season with 71 total tackles, 2 forced fumbles, an interception, a sack, 1 pass defense, and 31 stops in 14 games. His ability to fit the run from the nickel spot allows defensive coordinators to go lighter against heavier personnel, which can be invaluable if other roster areas are more complete. So, he's just a very, very overall, complete player in the slot. So that's, we got Newman, right? And we got Phillips, 2 fantastic, certainly building blocks going forward, right? Let's just keep our fingers crossed and all that, for a couple of things. One, these guys can stay healthy, right? I don't know. We just jinxed, cursed, no idea why our players just cannot stay healthy. Some other teams can, but ours just seem to be jinxed, right? But not only that, right, is that one, so they can stay healthy, and 2, right, is that we develop them. Hopefully, can you imagine? If Newman gets a little bit better, right, with Jerome Henderson, good coach, and Phillips, gets a little bit better, right? I'm not asking for maybe Hall of Famers or nothing like that, but can they get even a little bit better in the next couple of years? Be fantastic. But the big thing is, can we re-sign them? Right? Because right? Xavier McKinney, Landon Collins, right? 4 years and bye-bye, right? We don't want you anymore. Now I can understand Shane. He has whatever piece of paper, and all the positions, right? Thou shalt not pay more than such and such for safety. Thou shalt not pay $14 million for a running, whatever. He has his, what he's willing to pay for certain positions, and apparently paying $17 million for a safety was not in the cards for Shane. He did not want that. He paid the big bucks for the edge receiver, the edge rusher, Burnsy, right? But so we replaced him. Newman had more tackles than McKinney. Okay, of course, McKinney had far more interceptions, so of course that outdoes everything. But you also look at it, McKinney cost 17 times the amount of money that Newman did too. So, but good for McKinney, right? But we certainly have 2 young building blocks on defense. We got some fine pieces. Now, see if we can add another couple pieces to the puzzle. That'd be fantastic, really, really fantastic. All right, so then I got my final. It'll be like my final one of these here. I gotta find here for the season, right after the. I usually try to give the team grades and the offensive grades, defensive grades, and special team grades after each game, right? So let's go to the. Let me share my screen here. I'll show you the final stats for the teams, right? The team grades after the Giants lost here to the Eagles. So let me share my screen here. Nope, that's not it. Oh, okay, hold on. All right, let's see here by team. Is that it? Okay, here we go. So let me all right, share my screen. Gonna find it here. Here we go. All right, here we go. Up a little bit, moving on over. There we go. Okay, here we go. All right, so we got the overall team grade. The Lions are number 1. The Eagles are number 2. Very, very close. Lions are number 1, 93.8. But you'll look, it just goes to show you it's not all cut and dry or however you want to say it, right? Look, the Atlanta Falcons are 8-9, didn't even have a winning record. And according to PFF, their overall team grade is a 92. Crazy. Right? So we scroll down toward the bottom down here, the Giants, number 29, 68.5. Now look at this point differential. What is it? 27, 40, 37, 142 points minus. I mean, absolutely just straight up trash. 273 points. But somehow we actually, without one outburst that we scored against the Colts, actually pushes ahead here of the Browns. We scored 15 more points than the Browns. That one big, huge outburst that we had against the Colts. But if you look here, look at the Bills, 525 points. The Bills scored. Is they the number one or no? What did the Ravens score? 518. No. So the Bills are number one, 525. Okay. 525. So, but the Bills scored almost twice as many points as the Giants did. Just crazy. Absolutely ridiculous. Okay, then we got offensive grades here. Ravens number one, Lions number two. Offensive grades. All right. Number 29, once again, 64.4, the Giants. So we're 29, and I think it's 29, right? Passing grade. Bengals number one, 92.8. Ravens number two, 92.5. All right, then what do we got here? Giants are number 30. Oh, we're getting even worse, 58.5 for the passing grade. Pass blocking. The Broncos, number one, 83.7. All right, what do we got here? Pass blocking. Giants, number 28, 57.6. Receiving grade. Lions, number one, 89.3. Ravens, number two, 88.5. Receiving grade. Let's see here. Giants are number 29, 67.1. All right, now look at running grade. Ravens number one, 93.6. Falcons number two, 93.2. The Giants, number 23, with a 75. That's our running grade. We don't even really average that much per carry or anything like that, but run blocking. Falcons number one, 82.8. 49ers are second with a run blocking grade of an 80. All right, so we got the Giants. Run blocking grade is a 23, 59.7. So we still haven't cracked we haven't been in the teens yet. The Eagles, number one, 90.5. That's because they don't have anybody injured on their defense. They're very, very lucky. Giants number 20 on defense. 666. Yeah, that goes figures for the Giants. Their run defense, their defensive grade is a 666. Run defense. Browns number one, 81.4. The Giants, let's see, where are they at here? Their run defense, 64. They're number 23 overall. Their run defense has got to get better. Has to get better. Tackling. Now, this has been Achilles heel for the Giants all season long. Patriots, number one, 74.9. Lions, number two, 74.3. Giants, tackling. Number 18. But still, look, 48.5. Look at these absolutely atrocious tackling grades. Browns, number one, 28.5 is their tackling grade. Dolphins, 28.5. Look at all these teams in the 30s, a couple teams in the 30s, a bunch of teams in the 40s. Absolute tackling's been atrocious all season long. But it doesn't necessarily mean if you have the best tackling grade, that means you're going to have a fantastic, a superior team, because the Patriots, who fired the coach, are 4-13. They have the best tackling grade. Right? All right, pass rush. Now, the Giants do well in this. This is the highest graded for the Giants. The Giants are number 6, 76.3. Steelers are number one at a 90.6. With the Giants, that's their highest grade. 6th. Coverage grade. Now, the Eagles are number 1 at 92.9. And where are the Giants at here? 28. 52.2 coverage grade. All right, and we got special teams. The Bengals are number 1 at 90.9. Now look at the Patriots, 90.3. They're a couple grades, fantastic grades. The Patriots, their running grade was very, very good. Their tackling grade was I think was the best. Their special teams is the second best, but everything else apparently was just absolute trash. Special team grade, the Giants, 25th, 75.3. So the Giants' best grade overall is their pass rush. Number 6. No other grade. They weren't even the top half, and none of the other grades were the Giants in the top half. Only one category, their pass rush. What's up, buddy? Shane and Daboll's returning. What is your best course of action going forward well, I'll tell you what, as I said, it's going to be interesting to see what they decide to do with the quarterback, right? Do they get like a cheap, I don't want to say cheap, but a semi-affordable bridge quarterback and try to get somebody in the draft? I don't know what they think about Ward or Sanders. Do they think no? Or maybe we'll take somebody in the second or third round or something like that and try to develop somebody, if the Vikings let go of Darnold, because they got McCarthy there, right? If they let go of Darnold, then the Giants are going to try to make a jump for Darnold. They try to go for Justin Fields, right? Or they're going to, they got some money to spend, but you're not sure how much money they're going to. As I said, if they go after Darnold, he's going to cost them some money. I said, I don't know what they're going to do as far as in the draft, because I don't know what they think of Ward or Sanders. It just seems like to me, like all the stuff I see and read and all of that is like, I don't know if these guys are worth a first or second overall pick in the draft. But what Shane did do, their draft class last year was really, really good. And for his first 2 draft classes were not so good. He needs to, if we can get another good draft class like we did last year, that would be fantastic. Maybe, as I said, we brought in a couple good free agents. We did trade for Bernsey. We brought John Runyon, was good. We did have a couple good free agents. Illuminor was okay. He was decent in the beginning of the season, but then he had to switch him over to left tackle. Andrew Thomas got injured. But we need another good draft class. Now, the one nice thing about it, we might quite possibly get from what I'm reading, 4th round compensatory pick, because Ben Bredesen played a certain amount of snaps with the Buccaneers, which allows the Giants. We might get another 4th round draft pick, which would be really, really good. Because let's not forget, in the 4th round last year, we got Theo Johnson. And then the 5th round, we took Tyrone Tracy. So if we got a first, we got a second, a third, we might have 2 fourths. So if Shane, it's not easy, right? If he can, have another fine draft class like he did last year, that would really, really help. It was like every year there's always a story. It's always like last year was like, what's going on with Saquon? We signing him, this, that. This year it's like, obviously, what are we doing with quarterback, right? Are we going to sign somebody who's a free agent and try to get somebody in the draft and maybe develop them? That's going to be very interesting to see. They got some storylines going on there with Shane and Daboll. How does the team do next season? Do we go in a tank? If we just start doing really bad, do they make it to the end of the season if we're doing really bad? can we actually win a few more games and give Mara maybe some hope, and he keeps him again for the final season? Because then, or for another season, if they draft the quarterback in the class, and his draft class coming up, will they have enough time to, to try to develop the guy? So it's like a soap opera. You know what I mean? It's like as the New York Football Giants turn. It's a soap opera. Would you rank the 4 Giants Super Bowls in order from favorite to least? Well, for me, I mean, the first one, I mean, you can look at it was like maybe the most special because it was the first one, but it was also the least exciting. I mean, it was exciting, but it was 10-9.5, and before you knew it, it was 39-13. You know what I mean? We were beating them by 26 points with, I don't know, I think they scored a touchdown with like 2 minutes to go or something like that. Yeah. But I mean, all the other games, I mean, the wide right? And then you got, 17-14, and then the other one, 21-17. I mean, those 3 were, I mean, it's, I'll tell you, it's really, I mean, I'd have to give, 2007, I'd have to give the nod over the 1991 because of the team we beat. We beat the undefeated Patriots, the 18-0 Patriots. So I'd have to give the 2001, the nod over the 1990. The 1990 was incredible too, but I'd have to give Super Bowl 42, then I'd have to give Super Bowl 25. And then Super Bowl 46 would be the bottom one. I mean, that was an exciting one too. But it was the Patriots. It was Brady, but they weren't undefeated. But it did come down to it came down to the last play of the game, a Hail Mary in the end zone and all of that, right? Gronkowski almost caught it. I mean, if he catches it, the Patriots win, right? So I mean, that was exciting as heck too. But I'd have to give Super Bowl 21 because that was the first one. The Giants hadn't won anything since 1956, so I'd have to give that. So I have to give Super Bowl 21, 42, 25, and 46. That's my opinion. I mean, that's the first one was just so special. Just actually seeing the Giants win a Super Bowl was just absolutely unbelievable. All right, so we got to go now. I'm going to go fast here to the offensive grades, right? Who was good and who was bad in the Week 18 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles? Well, it was certainly was a lot of bad here, as there always is. All right, so let me share my screen here. Yep, share screen. All right. Let me go to. All right, we're going to go. Where the Giants at here? Here we go. All right, we got the final game of the season. Wow. Go to the Eagles. Offense. Okay. Chris Mainhertz, the highest graded player for the New York Giants. On offense, anyway. All right, so Chris Mainhertz, he played 27 total snaps, graded 73.3. Daniel Bellinger, look at that, tight ends, dominating the top of the charts here. He played 32 snaps, graded 69.7. Wan'Dale Robinson, 39 snaps, because he had all those catches, right? And he only had 39 snaps. They had like 10 catches. So basically almost like 1 out of every 4 plays he was on the field, he had a catch. Not too bad. He graded a 67.7. Malik Neighbors, 37 total snaps, 65.7. Dane Belton, of course, this was an offense. Dane Belt was not on offense. Eric Gray, 6 total snaps, 64.7. Drew Lock, 53 snaps, right? 63.4. Joshua Ezeudu at left tackle for 28 snaps, 60.7. Tyrone Tracy was in there for 32 snaps, 60.5. I'm going to disregard all these guys. All these guys are because this was from special teams. Somehow they're including the special teams for the one play that Dane Belton ran, right, on offense. So I'm going to disregard these guys. But so Jermaine Illuminor, left tackle, 50. Actually, Chris Hubbard, 2 snaps at left tackle. I guess that might have been. Let's see here. That might have been a jumbo package. Hubbard was in there, 2 snaps, graded out of 60. Now, Hubbard, I think Shane said Hubbard, Stinney, and GVR, they're all free agents. So, but Illuminor, he'll be back next season. We signed him for 2 years. He was in for 53 snaps, graded at 59.1. Devin Singletary, 16 snaps, 56.7. Tyree Phillips, 53 snaps, 54.3. Greg Dulcich, 10 snaps, 54. Darius Slayton, possibly the last snaps as a New York Giant, possibly. He played in 48 snaps, graded out of 51. He only had 1 reception. Of course, it was a big one, right? Oh, no, it wasn't a big one. That was the week before against the Colts. Thinking about the 1 touchdown reception he had. So Darius Slayton, 48 receptions. Jalen Hyatt was in there for 18 snaps. He graded out of 48. Aaron Stinney, left guard, 25 snaps, graded out of 43. GVR was in there for John Michael Schmitz. He had all 53 snaps, graded out 40.2. And Jake Kubas was our right guard for 53 snaps, graded out of 29.2. So Kubas and Van Roten and Stinney had a rough day. So, and Illuminor, so chances are pretty good, right, that when your offensive linemen are at the bottom, the bottom of the list, things just didn't seem to work out for you. But I mean, that's that way it is a lot of times, especially with the Eagles, right? The Eagles, they're all starts in the trenches, and the Eagles usually do a very good job. The Eagles have a fantastic offensive line. They have one of the best offensive line coaches in football. So their offensive line is always good, and they're in the trenches. The defensive side is very, very good as well too. So when, as I said, when your offensive linemen are down at the bottom of the list, it's you usually had a rough day, and at least the Giants, they did better than they did at home, right? Because when we played at home, right, against the Eagles, it was 28-3. That was not pretty at all. But I mean, you also got to figure too, right? Is that Giants didn't totally lay down. You certainly would like to see them do better because basically we had a lot of our starters in there. Maybe not all of them. We did maybe rest some, but a lot of ours. But the Eagles had all the backups in there. But at least thankfully, we didn't get blown out. But we are picking third. Now, if we won the game, we would have been picking like 6th or 7th. So even at third is going to be some good players for the Giants to pick. Even if the Titans or the Browns don't take a quarterback, we picks 1 or 2. Giants are still going to get themselves a pretty good ball player. So, all right. So now let's quickly go to the defensive side here. Let's see who was naughty and who was nice for the Giants after their Week 18 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. All right. So let me go once again share my screen here. Go back here. All right, let's go to the defensive side. Who we got? Ty Summers, right? 91.3. Look at that. Huh. There you go. A couple of them here, right? Middle linebacker. Even Isaiah Simmons. I think this is his highest grade of the season. Let me say Isaiah Simmons here. He did not do very well this year. He had a couple... 44, 27, 74. He had a 74. He had a 65. He did not, did not have a banner season, but this 76.9 was his highest graded Isaiah Simmons defensive grade of the whole season was against the Eagles. Elijah Garcia at right end was in 39 snaps, graded out of 76. Toman Fox, 32 snaps, 75.9. Kayvon was in there for 36 snaps, graded out of 74.4. Elijah Chapman, 27 snaps, 73.5. Brian Bernsey, right? 36 snaps, graded out of 70.9. Cordell Flott, 39 snaps, graded out of 66.7. Booger Basham, right? 32 snaps, 65.2. Jason Pinnock, 58 snaps, 62.1. Andrew Phillips, 47 snaps, 61.9. Deonte Banks, 44 snaps, 58.4. Jordan Riley, 37 snaps, graded out of 58.2. Anthony Johnson Jr., 18 snaps, graded out of 56.2. Devod Wilson at cornerback, 26 snaps, 55.8. Now Daboll was also asked too, because some of these guys got put in. Now, once again, we're not exactly sure if Daboll was kind of helping, maybe throwing the game. Maybe, kind of, possibly, kind of, maybe. Putting guys in here who usually don't get a lot of playing time, right? Wanting to seeing some guys, giving some guys some snaps who haven't had some snaps before and all that. Maybe that kind of helped. Maybe throw the game. Maybe. But you'll never get that out of Brian Daboll. So, Corey Durden, 20 snaps at nose tackle, 53.5. Dane Belton, 60 snaps, graded out of 49.7. Deontay Johnson, got a lot of Johnsons on the team there, 37 snaps, 48.8. Dory Jackson, might be his final 27 snaps in a New York Giants uniform ever, 46.2. And Nacho, not a very good game for Nacho, graded out of 35, 45.1. I mean, Nacho, once again, it's just, 45, we had a 47, a 30, a 44, a 47, a 40. I mean, just, yeah. Yeah. I was kind of hoping for a little bit more from Nacho, but it's Nacho year. So I don't know. He's supposed to be really good against the run. He's okay. Also could be, the Bowen, the scheme that Bowen has, sometimes, what Wink had the year before. Some of the guys like Okereke Wink seemed to get the best. Kind of had the guys maybe in the front consume blocks and allow Okereke freedom to roam and make tackles. It may not have been the same way this year with the Bowen defense, right? Okereke sometimes seemed to get blockers get to the second level, were able to get to him and made it a little tougher for him to make tackles. So that's something the Giants are going to have to think about, look at, address, or whatever. It's like, they really want to go forward with another year with the Bowen defense here. So I'll have to wait and see. All right, and finally I always go to here. Where are we at here? Got to find it. Finish the season off here with special teams. All right, the special team grades after the Giants' Week 18 loss to the Eagles. Who was naughty and who was nice? The New York Giants on special teams. All right, so let's go back, share my screen here one more time. Uno mas times here. All right, let's go here. And let's go to special teams. All right, usually have a lot of guys that are around 60. Yeah. How many guys we got here? Wow, we got 31 guys on special teams. Usually a ton of them around 60. The top guy was Deontay Johnson. On special teams, he was in 13 snaps, graded at 71.9. Devad Wilson, 7 snaps, graded at 66.66. Casey Cryer, 6 snaps, 63.6. Boogie Basham was on there for 3 snaps, graded at 61.4. Anthony Johnson Jr., 12 snaps in special teams, 61.3. Choman Fox, 20 special team snaps, 61.2. And then we got Isaiah Simmons, 6 special team snaps, graded out of 61. Then we have a bunch of guys at 60. I mean, holy cow. Excuse me, guys. So we got Eric Gray, Matthew Adams, Aaron Stinney, Elijah Chapman, Jake Kubas, Chris Hubbard, Jermaine E. Luminor, Jamie Gillen, Elijah Garcia, Art Crane, Joshua Zuda, Austin Schlotman, however you want to pronounce it, Greg Dulcich, Daniel Bellinger, Emir Smith-Marset, and Graham Gano, all graded out at a 60. Then we have down here, we got Dane Belton, who's in there for 12 snaps. He graded at 59.8. Corey Durden, just 2 snaps, 59.5. Chris Manhertz, 11 special team snaps, 59.4. Nacho, who was in there for 5 snaps, 59.4. Jordan Riley, 5 special team snaps, 59.1. Darius Muasau, 8 special team snaps, graded out 57.5. And the bottom 2 was Ty Summers, who did really good on defense, but not so good on special teams. He was in there for 11 special team snaps, graded out 48.6. And Bryce Ford Wheaton, 44.6 at the bottom, but he was on all 20 special team snaps. All right, let me, stop sharing. Here we go. But I mean, usually, as I said, I mean, there's always a ton. Usually there's at least 30 guys, 30 different players who play on special teams, as you can see. I mean, just to show you, I mean, how important special teams are. Now, there was only pretty much 20 special team snaps, but you can see how many different guys actually get involved in the special teams. So, I mean, it's, you know, it is true. I mean, it's like, you know, if maybe you're not the first stringer on defense or on offense or something like that, if you can carve out, you know, a role for yourself in special teams, you might have a, you know, some of these guys, you know, especially if you're only playing 20 snaps a game, right? You know, and if you can stay healthy, right, you can carve out something on special teams. Some of these guys make a long career of that, especially if they're not playing a lot, because they, you know, obviously, you know, right, the less that you play, the less chance of you getting injured. Right? If you're playing defense and you're playing 50, 60, 70 snaps every game, the chance of you obviously escalate. If you know, but I mean, if you play special teams, if you carve yourself out a role, right, you're gonna have yourself a nice long career in the NFL. All right, guys, been 1 hour and 8 minutes. Whoever spent any time listening to me live, thank you. Or if anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go Giants. Woo! Oh, yeah.